Hello world, how are you all doing? Welcome to the stream, Dragon Dust. Thank you very much. You're writing, hey, how are you? I'm great. I'm actually pretty good right now. I'm quite motivated. My private app that I'm working on right now is actually going quite good, and it's nearing completion. So I don't want to rush it, so I'm not going to announce any timeline, but it's getting, feature-wise, it's getting close to finish. How are you? How are you doing? How are things going for you, Dragon Dust? So here you can see the summary of last stream, but I'm not going to go into that. I actually want to point out directly the different parts here, because quite a few things happened. First, I wrote this new issue for the Swift Evolution Monthly. So if you're not watching that, if you're not following that, make sure to follow me on Medium, or just you can also subscribe on SA Monthly. .flyingdev.com, so you can find also here the issues, then you get it as an email. And basically I went through the different new stuff that are coming in Swift with Swift 5.7 and later. And this time around it was about regex literals, it was about regex syntax and runtime construction, so still about regexes, but also Swift snippets, which is a really interesting one. Especially if you're writing a library, this might be of interest to you because it improves documentation. Nice, looking forward to it. Yeah, me too, I'm looking forward to it as well. I think I will start a beta soon. And regex power stream processing algorithms, which sounds like it's about regex, but it's actually not really about regexes. So make sure to read that article if you're not, if you haven't read it yet. And also, instead of going through that summary, I actually made a summary tweet after last time's stream, because we had some UI improvements last time. So this is basically what we have done last time, is improve something that looked like this into something that looked much more natural to an iOS screen, because we have been focusing on the macOS app lately. And in the last stream, we basically tried to make the UI work on iOS as well. I mean, it was building on iOS all the time, but the UI, it was not usable, as you can see here, like two tab bars and things like that, and we have improved it quite a bit. And we are going to get back to the open focus timer. But first, I want to start with something else, and that is BartyCrouch, which is a library that I have written some time ago, some few years ago, and we have some new issues that came in, so I want to basically go through that first before we get back to the open focus timer. And don't forget to also follow on YouTube. As soon as we reach the 100, I can actually rename that link here from this ugly thing to Flying Dev, and I'm really looking forward to that. And otherwise, that's basically it for the summary. Samigun, welcome. Hello, how are you doing? How's your day going? So we're going to start with the open focus timer. And Dragon Dust, as you're around, how are your streams going? Are you streaming regularly? How is it going? Do you get more viewers than before? That's also something, because like for me, it's staying at the same level. It's not really improving much, which I think is simply because I'm working on one app all the time. And it's quite specific how I'm developing it. And I think there is not many people who are interested in like how I'm doing TCA and things like that. But I'm going to extract many videos from these streams. So long term, I think it's still worth it doing it this way. And I'm just developing this for myself. Like I need this app, that's why I'm developing it. So I don't feel like wasting any time. So today we're going to start with BartyCrouch maintenance. And I think this is part 3 or part 4. Might be part 4. Let me look it up quickly. It's part 4 already. So BartyCrouch maintenance part 4, and later we'll come back to open focus timer. I hope we will have the time for that, but it will be part 24. So quite a bit already done there. And I will just copy over what we wrote down as next steps last time for open focus timer, so we know where to continue there later. And it's still a couple of UI problems with iOS, but I think we can fix that later. Let's have a look first at BartyCrouch. So if anybody who's using BartyCrouch is around right now, and if you're having any issues with it, now I'm here. I'm here to fix them, and especially the people who have contacted me. I have been contacted by one person specifically on Twitter, who wrote me that they have an issue. I just told them, please make sure that the issue is listed here in the issues, and then I can go through that. I'm not sure if that is part of here, but there's also other issues, so I want to have a look at that. I haven't streamed in the last days, hopefully I can get back to it soon, but yeah, I plan to do more regularly. That's cool to hear, that's cool to hear. That's nice. How was your day? Did you have a nice week? Because Friday, I'm always streaming Friday, basically at the end of everybody's week. And yeah, just a summary of what progress you made this week. Did it feel like it was a productive week, or was it more so-so? Okay, so I'm going to go through all the new ones since we last have a look, and I think we had a look just some time ago. So we have 25 days, 8 days, and 2 days. So let's have a look at these 3 issues reported. Maybe we can fix one of them. And also let me check if there's any ones with updates recently. Sort by recently updated. Let's see, maybe there's some older issues with comments. Doesn't look like it. So okay, let's focus on these 3. So this was reported 25 days ago. Add new line on every translation after normalize. Ah, okay, I have a file like this, and when I click normalize, I get this. Suggested solution, maybe add some param for a normalize step like with new line equals false. And I have already answered. Yeah, short week this time, and my vacation is in about 8-10 days. That's cool. Where are you going? Are you going anywhere? I mean, Corona situation has gotten a bit better, so I hope that we can travel nowadays. And I am really eagerly waiting for Japan to reopen, because we have plans to go to Japan for multiple months. We want to basically learn the language. We're trying to learn Japanese for quite some time with my wife, but we are never really learned it properly, and I think it's easiest to do it when you're there. And we want to do also some vacation for multiple months, so that's like the perfect solution for us, but we're waiting for them to open up. They have still not opened up. They have just announced yesterday that they're opening up for like group tourists, but yeah, that's not something that we can use. Yeah, going to London for some days. Nice. I've been to London, I think 2017 or 18 or something, to watch the Harry Potter theater, like Harry Potter and the Cursed Child in London. So that's where I have been, and it really looked awesome also on the outside. So yeah, something like that. But can we see the whole street here somewhere? Yeah, but that was really cool, and for that we went to London for the weekend, and it was really nice. It's a great city, definitely. We didn't have much time to explore, but I hope you will have a little bit more time. How long are you going to stay? For some days, okay. Okay, London is amazing. Okay, so thank you for that suggestion. That's actually a nice idea and should be easy enough to implement. Do you want to tackle the implementation yourself? Maybe you just need to add new param here. So I pointed them to a specific line, pass that down to the strings file, adjust the separator. Okay, so I have laid out how to implement this. And I also said I might have a look into this myself, but I can't promise any timeline. We can do it today. I think this should be enough to do. It should be easy enough to do. 5 days. It is my 4th visit. 4th visit. So what have you been doing the last three visits? Did you like it so much? Do you have like relatives there? What is the reason to go there again and again? Do you really like that city? You can also give me some tips. I've been there only once properly. Like I was there once with school, but yeah, I was not free there, and I don't remember much, to be honest. I just remember we walked along like Westminster Abbey or something like that, but I don't really remember anything. So what is that? We still have leftovers from last time, and those are duplicates as well. I don't think we should stage them. What is this? Looks like we have some incomplete stuff there, but I'm going to go to BartyCrouch, and I can see that there have been changes to BartyCrouch, so let me pull them first before we do any changes. No, I just like the city. That's cool enough, that's fair enough. What are you typically doing when you are there? What's the kind of things that you're doing? Let's switch to the versions branch and let's pull that as well. Okay, we do have okay, that was not what we wanted. Cool, so let's start actually implementing a new feature, and I'm going to use the feature here. Let's call it, what do they call it? New line to normalize. So we want to add a new option to normalize with new line. Yeah, that's a proper name. With new line. Let's create a new. And let's open, actually we can open directly from here now, just by saying open package to Swift. Okay, it's checking out the dependencies. And while we're at it, we can also update the dependencies. I always like to have them updated. See if that's going to change anything. It doesn't look like it. Visiting some tourist sites and enjoying the time in pubs in the evening. I see. Okay, that's nice. I could ask some more personal questions. I would be interested, but I think yeah, it's better to not do that. Unless you're free to openly talk about things that are more private. But let's not do that. But cool. London. So it's 10 days until you go there. In about 10 days. Nice. Megan, hey there, welcome to the stream. How are you doing? How's your day? For you it's in the morning, right? Must be really early for you. You wake up early, right? How are your streams going, Megan? How was your week? So I wanted to. I see some to-dos here as well, which is interesting. But first we want to find the place that I have already pointed out in my comment here. So let's find out what this place is. This is the act on normalize. So I stated that you just need to add a new param here, and that's in the command line actor. There we have an act on normalize. Here we go. I basically said that we need to add a new option here, and our new option is going to be called with new line. Is that a good name? So separate by empty line, separation, white space, separator, white space, something like separator, white space maybe. This is like the white space separating two entries. Entry white space, entry separator. What's a good name for like turning this on and off? I haven't done any streams recently. Oh, that's yeah, that's too bad. But I hope you'll be able to. I've had to focus on getting this project done. So how far are you now? Have you made good progress? As long as you make progress, that's like my mantra is, as long as you make progress, it's always positive. You just have to stay positive as long as you make progress. Yeah, I hope you didn't get stuck too much, but if you're making progress, it should be fine. So entry separator along what new lines, white space, separating white space, separate with white space. Getting close. I think like one more week of work. That sounds good. Although it's hard to estimate development work, right? If you think it's 1 week left, it might actually be 4 weeks in the worst case. It might actually also be done in like 3 days or something. You never know. But from my experience, it takes longer than you expect. But I hope that your estimation is about right. I'm hoping to be done by the end of next week. Gotta implement some watch connectivity though. Wow, so you have an app that supports watchOS as well. That's nice. Yeah, definitely it's hard to estimate. That's true, that's true. I even have lots of experience with different projects, and still my estimations are not on point all the time. So it's really hard. Okay, so I want to settle on some name, and then we can still improve later. So I will call it, let's go long first. Entry separator white space. So the problem I have with this name is that it sounds like this is a string because it says it's a white space and then it might actually be a string, but actually it is a boolean, so we should change the name. Maybe we make it like a statement, like separate with white space with new line, separate with new line. I mean, they've called with new line. That's just not clear to me that it's a separator. Maybe separate with new line separator. I don't think new line is the right name. I think it's not about that we have a new line. I mean, we also have a new line here to here. I think it's more about an empty line or blank line. How is that called? Empty line between entries. Separate with empty line. I think that is relatively clear. Separate with empty line. Okay, I'm going to stick with that name. If you have any other suggestions, make sure to tell me, but I think that's a name that should be quite understandable. And it's also clear that the type is a boolean. Thank you for following. Macrelius SDF. Hope I said it right. And welcome to the stream. How are you doing? Did you find me through Twitch or somewhere else like Twitter? That would be interesting for me to know where you got me, where you found me basically. So separate with empty line. And we're going to use it here, but I also mentioned that just to separate it in this line, so we need to adjust the separator based on that. So let's see what that line is. And that line is find translations in the strings file updater. It's 418. So let's go to strings file updater 418. For people also who don't know this, you can always write the line just with a colon and then it jumps right to the line. So here we are. And I just basically need to change this. So this also needs a the same. Oop, I can just see that we have a different indentation here. I think it's 2. So let's go with that. And so if separate with empty line is true, we want to use 2 empty lines. Otherwise, we just use 1. New lines, I mean, no empty line. So this creates a new empty line because this is the new line to get to the next line, and this is basically the empty line part. And this basically should implement the new feature. Now, I think the easiest way to fix this and get everything running is to just build and fix all the warnings that we get, because things are not getting building. Like, for example, we have added a new parameter here, and the place we're calling, I don't know the place up of my head, but just by building, the compiler will tell me, and that's one of the really nice things about Swift. You just need to change the right places, and then the compiler helps you. It tells me here missing argument parameters, so let's add it. And actually, we can also use the autocompletion. And what do we pass here? So we can here now see that I have to somehow read in the options, and we haven't added to the options yet. So let's get there. Let's go there as well and add it there. So a new parameter, public let is a boolean, and I'm going to just add it like the other ones as well. And update.normalize. Hey, welcome to the stream, Turbo Nautilus. How are you doing? Well, thank you for following. How's your day going? And where did you find me? It's already second person finding me while I'm live. Did you find me through Twitter or via the Twitch app? That would be interesting to know. So we're adding here normalize, and the new key name should be like this. So what do we want to default to? until now we had this option basically turned on. So I think we should default to true. So all users that are upgrading don't see any changes in their strings, but the ones who want to set this explicitly to a different value, they get basically the other behavior. And also add this here. This is basically a place where I produce a new default config file content, and the default should also be created like this with the self.separate. I actually prefer having self here, so let's add it everywhere. Makes it more clear that this is an instance property, not a parameter or a local variable. Macrelius SDF through Twitch, nice. So there are people who are basically going around in Twitch and searching for content like this. Are you a developer, an iOS developer, or are you just interested in what iOS development looks like? I'm currently doing maintenance on a framework that I have up. It's here, BartyCrouch. If you want to check that out, I'm currently basically fixing an issue or implementing a new feature, to be more correct, which is this feature. If you want to look it up, you can do that. Let me actually post a link in the chat. Tobin Nautilus, hi, just Twitch browsing. I'm a senior iOS developer engineer, software engineer, and in my opinion, Swift dev is really underrepresented on Twitch. I absolutely agree, and that's why I started this channel. That's one of the reasons. I just thought, wouldn't it be cool if basically every iOS developer was streaming their, especially if people who are doing open source development anyways, so it's code that they can show publicly. I'm just thinking like, hey, why don't they just stream and just show, and then you can, like, my dream come true would be if all, or not all, but let's say 10% of all open source developers were just streaming their open source development part. And then you could just jump in the open source tools that you're interested in and just comment, help them, or ask them questions while they're developing, and learn about basically how to also contribute to that project. I think it's a really good way to also learn how to contribute. And that's the future I'm looking forward to. I hope that I can help building. And I actually do actively things to make that work. So if for any developer who is interested in also streaming, I have started in my blog here on Medium. Oops, that's the future articles. You can already see like what I'm going to publish on next, but I have already 2 articles. One, streaming open source development on Twitch, the hardware part, and one, the software part. And I have more planned, but I think these 2 are the most important ones. So make sure to check out these articles. Let me post actually the links. Let me post the no paywall links, so you can always copy these links and you don't get the Medium paywall, which I can't turn off, unfortunately. But here you go. If you're interested in streaming, I try to help by showing why I'm doing it and also hardware I'm using. So great that you explored through Twitch. I hope that's going to be more people exploring. But let's get back to work. So we have added separate with empty line. This is creating the config file contents. Nice. This should be there. Let's build again. Let's see what else is failing. Okay, so here now we can use options dot separate with new line option that we have just added. The other place is strings file updater. Macrelius SDF. I'm just interested. I see. So you're not a developer even, or are you? What's your profession, or do you go to school? What's like? What do you do day to day? Okay, new contents of file translation. So we have to add this new parameter as well. And again, Xcode is helping us here. And separate with empty line, we have to pass it down now to this strings from translations. And for that, we need to add this option here as well. So we're adding like the whole nesting. We're just knowing where to add these things with help of the compiler. I really don't know where all I need to change this, but the compiler is telling me, and that's really cool. And that's a boolean. And I'm going to build again. And again, wherever I call this, it's going to fail now. Actually, quite a few places. And in here, let's actually have a look. yeah, we have to add it here as well. Incrementally update keys. It's getting a new option, which is a bool, and it's going to default. Should it default to anything actually? I'm not really sure. I'm not going to default it. I don't really know why there's two places with defaults. The one is when you generate the config file, and the other one is when you just don't do anything, just run BartyCrouch without the config file, I think. It's cool, nice. So do you have any questions to me, like about iOS development or in general about being a developer? If you have any specific questions, I'm here to answer those as well. So I'm absolutely open to talk with you these things. But if you just want to watch the things I'm doing, feel free to do that as well. And you can, like, if you watch my streams all the time, again and again, I also have videos of my streams uploaded on YouTube. So let me send you the link for that. If you want to check out basically over time what I'm doing, because I'm developing a full app in my streams, feel free to do that and you will learn all the steps and all the kinds of things I'm doing. Thank you for following Molotov Spree. Welcome to the stream. How are you doing? How's your day? Toba Nautilus, did you try JetBrains app code? Xcode frustrates me since a few months now. Keeps beach balling on file scrolling. I never had problems like beach balling on file scrolling or things like that. So, and I have not tried out app code, to be honest, because I basically it's lack of need. I just don't need that because Xcode is working for me. And at the same time, I just doubt that any other tool has all the things integrated so well that everything works. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I just never tried. Do you think I should try if I never had problems with Xcode, or do you think it just makes sense if you're struggling with Xcode itself? Be good to know. But this is added now. Let's try to continue fixing these issues. We have added it here now, so we can just pass it down. Let's make this a little bit more readable by just putting everything in their own lines. Separate with empty line. We need the same here as well. Let's also do this, separate with empty line. What's wrong? Oh, I forgot to add it here. Okay, more places to fix this. Another place to call it. Let's bring this into their new lines. And where else do we? Oh, okay. We don't have that here in this context. So for our, that's a really long function. Look at that. I should actually refactor this. If I had more time, I'd do it. But this is an open source tool that has grown over time. So I really don't have the time to do much here. Instead, we're going to go one step at a time to improve just one thing, which is in this case, this new feature added that somebody needed. And we don't have that in this context, so let's add it here as well. And that's making more places fail because now we need here. And in this, yeah, here we already have that, so we can just call separate with empty line. And same here. Let's do it here as well. So we don't have that in this context yet. Let's add it here too. I see more people discovering my stream today, maybe because I have actually started later. And I have to do that. I had to do this because I have basically replanned my time. I'm now working a little differently. I have basically planned when because I'm an independent developer, so I can basically work on whatever I want at what time I want. But I also want to make progress all the time, as fast as possible. And that's why I just learned from my last couple of months as an indie developer and just reorganized my time. And that's why I'm streaming a bit later now, as I'm working now also Fridays in the mornings. I was not doing that before. The full Friday was blocked for open source work before, and I have changed that plan a bit. And I hope it's going to be more productive this way. Let's see if we have access to it here. No, we don't. Actually, I feel like I might have access to the options directly from here. Is that true? Because, yeah, we have self.options. So let's go through that instead. Self.options. Oh, you will need Xcode and it will be not replaceable. Signing, instruments, etc. I see. AppCode has some small features I like. For example, localization file checks if all languages have the same keys. Unused keys, duplicate keys, or in my opinion, a better refactoring performance. That's so funny. Did you know that? I mean, this tool itself also, but also the app I'm working on right now is exactly solving this. It's exactly solving that issue that Xcode doesn't support that. And you're just telling me that AppCode supports it. That's interesting to know. It also has a better refactoring performance. Yeah, Xcode performance on refactoring is kind of laggy. It's hanging oftentimes, but still no SwiftUI preview, and it costs some money per year. Yeah, those are big downers, I think. Like the latest frameworks and tools, and also the most complicated ones like SwiftUI previews, they just can't do it that quickly. I mean, Apple has worked on it for years with so many developers, I'm sure. That's why I'm also staying on Xcode mostly. But if I had real struggles with Xcode, I would be totally free to switch to a different editor. In which time zone are you located? I'm I live in Germany, so it's Central European time. It's currently 4 p.m. here right now. First time watcher of your stream, or any stream, I was curious. Marco Eidinger, welcome to the chat. How are you doing? So you've been very active on, this is also an iOS developer, very active, also doing things for the community. So say hello to Marco Eidinger. How are you doing? How's your day going? How was your week? And glad that you joined my stream. Just that basically I brought you to Twitch. Twitch is was more gamer focused, but they're opening up for other content as well, like development content. Basically any kind of content you can do by now on Twitch. And I just believe that Twitch is a little bit more chatty. There's like more interaction on Twitch than on YouTube, and that's why I prefer this over YouTube. Although some people have asked me to go YouTube, but I am uploading my streams to YouTube, so if you want to watch that, through that experience is possible too. Oh, Turbo Nautilus, me too. Greetings from Bavaria. Greetings back. I'm here in Baden-Württemberg, so thanks, just woke up. I see. So are you also in a different time zone? I'm guessing that you're somewhere in the US, or in one of the US time zones at least. So I wish you a nice Friday then. Are you going to work today? Are you going to work, or do you work from home? Let's get this also continue. I don't remember where we were. Yeah, we just added this here. We have to access the options here. So strings files updater. And we have transform options. I just wonder, where did we exactly add that new option? Did we add it to normalize options? Because that might not actually be the right place. Separate with empty new line. Actually, the right place might be just somewhere in the top level, which is update options, I think. These are more detailed options, tasks, but it works for everything where we have strings. So I think we should have something like here. We should have public let. Now it's already public let. Separate with empty line. I think this is where we should add it. I have to jump. See you next time. To out to this. Yeah, sure. You're welcome. Join anytime and have a nice day. US West Coast, working from home. Yeah, West Coast is California, basically, probably. I don't think there's any other state West Coast in the US, right? Although there is, I think in the north there is. I think you have, what do you have there? The state that also has the city name? I always forget. Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, that's a great place to live if you're in this iOS world. I was not lucky to be born in California, otherwise I would probably have some things easier to connect with people, especially. And go to WWDC, for example. Yeah, it's hard to do it from here. It's just so much more expensive. But that's how it is. There's nothing I can do about it. Anyways, let's try to get this complete. So I'm adding it here instead. If I add it here, I have to also change the places here. Interfaces, code. You know what? I'm going to keep it in a Normalize options. And if it's provided in the Normalize options, I will use it everywhere. I think that kind of makes sense. California is correct, located in San Jose. Nice. I was born and raised in Germany. Okay, Marco Eidinger also sounds quite German. And so when did you move there? Like at what age did you move there? Or how many years ago did you move there? And do you like living there more than in Germany? What's so different? Maybe if you want to talk about these things, I don't know. Maybe you've been asked this question too often, then let's not discuss them. But I've been to the US when I was at WWDC 2014 the first time, and WWDC 2014 is one of the magical WWDCs because Swift was announced there, and nobody saw that coming, and that was really, really amazing. Trust me. There, you just watch the unveil on YouTube, just WWDC 2014 Swift unveil. It's so amazing. The unveil itself as well by Craig Federighi. And it was awesome. I have photos with Tim Cook, who was not as famous as he is now back then in 2014. Then I have photos with Craig Federighi. And there's also a story behind that, because I was the first one having a photo with him at WWDC 2014, because we saw him he was peeking to the crowd, and we saw him with a friend who I was there with. I just felt like, hey, let's make a photo with him. He's kind of peeking like he wants to make photos. And we just said like, hey, can we make a photo? And then he came, and then we made the first photo. And after we made it, there was like a whole queue behind us. That was like interesting. And I also have a photo with Johnny Ive. So Johnny Ive, Tim Cook, and Craig Federighi, which unfortunately Steve Jobs was not possible because that was too late for that. I was a big fan of Steve Jobs specifically. So that wasn't possible, but still I was there and it was a nice time. Really great there. I love the music in the restaurants. That's definitely something that I found was better in the US, or at least in California. And yeah, there's a couple of things that I really liked. The pizza was amazing. Great pizza you have there in the US. 2013 you moved there. That's like already nearly 10 years ago, like 9 years. I found my wife here, happy. That's perfect. That's what life is about. To be happy, to have a family. Nice, awesome story. Yeah, I have like on Facebook, I posted that also with like a image story. And back then Facebook, when Facebook was still in. And I'm sure I would have done a like Instagram story or something like that by now, but back then I had like these Facebook posts, and it's still up. So if you become friends with me on Facebook, you should be able to look them up and see them. I'm not sure. I don't think I have deleted them. Okay, let's get back to this. And also, I hear this all the time. People are telling me they're distracting me from this work, but this is totally fine. That's why I'm streaming. Getting distracted is part of this, and makes more fun. It's more fun to do it like this. But I'm missing this now because I had removed it. But let's put it back. Okay, let's try again. Let's build and see what we can fix. So now we have to access the options, and we are in transform task handler. We only have a transform options. I see. Maybe we should add it everywhere. I don't know. We should. I've got to go. See ya. Yeah, sure. Have a nice evening. See you around, Dragon Dust. Also caught the Cranidos before he went. Soft options, separate new line. Let's first make this a bit more readable. So, and let's fix the indentation because this project is not normalized to my preferences yet. Separate with the empty line. So how can we access the separate with empty line from inside this? This is transform options, which is, I believe, inside of update options. Yeah, it's inside update options. Maybe I need a way to access it here. Okay, maybe I do need to put it into all of them, basically. I mean, I have something similar with all the other options, so let's do it. Let's add it to the transform option as well. Let's build again. Now we actually we should at least have access, and we have to create it. No, that's a boolean. Full update transform, and it's called oops, like this. And else we're going to default it to true, as it is right now. Then we have transform task, and now we should have it here. There we go. And last but not least, we want to add it here as well. Separate with empty line. To all the viewers, any of you have any Swift code right now that you want me to just, oh, Macro wrote, I will read it in a minute. If you have any Swift code that you want me to review or refactor, just send it over. It should just be compiling, and it should be one file. Then I will happily have a look at it. So my wife was a photographer and tried to take a photo from Steve Jobs and had an event. And he said he doesn't want to take anything away from the event, so that was pretty kind. So I didn't get that. He said he doesn't want to take anything away from the event, so that was pretty kind. I don't get that yet. So he, your wife met Steve Jobs at an event and asked if she can take a photo, but he didn't want to take a photo because he didn't want to distract from the event. Is that it? Like there was an event that was not about him, and he didn't want to be like the big thing about the event. I like that your struct definitions are lean and contain only properties, and you add the functions through extensions. I should do this more. I am not consistent with that. This is kind of old code for me, but yeah, I still like to do this most of the time. By the way, I don't think we need this initializer. Just noticed. I think it should build without it, because it's not public anyways. I think this should be the case for all of them. Oh yeah. Unnecessary initializers here. Let's delete code. Thank you for pointing that out without seeing it. Like that, letting me think about... as I said, this is kind of old code. And I always learn. I'm still learning a lot every week how to improve my code. And here's one more thing that we can do to improve this. If they were public, I wouldn't need those initializers, but it's not, so we shouldn't need that. And now we have the translate options, and translate options needs that as well. So let's go into that. He declined that someone takes a photo from him for commercial purposes because he wanted the people who were remembering the event and not him. I see, now I get it. Makes sense. And we're going to a break, so I'll be back in a couple of minutes. Yeah, stay in the loop. See ya. And I'm taking those breaks to get some fresh air and to stretch. And I think that's also something that you should always do. So also trying to, yeah, make you do that in case you're watching this while working. So let's have a break together. Be right back. Okay, let's get back to work. And we were adding this also to the translate options, where it's missing right now. Let's see if it's still, no, it's not. Should be easy enough to write. Let's continue. Now we're passing it here. And we should be reading it from there. Now we should have access to it through the options. Nice. Now we need it here as well. Test translate task handler with configuration top secret, and we're just going to pass through. Where else do we need to add it? Here too. And this is also a test, so let's just pass through as well, which is going to be the old behavior, so it still compiles. And now everything is passing, and I can also run the tests just to make sure they are still passing. And they are all passing, which is looking good. Okay, one configuration is not passing because it asserted that here you see this is a new one that is being added, and I believe this is the expected, so I should actually start with the expected and then get the actual result, which will make that output a bit better. So if we just recompile just this test, we should now have that it was added, not removed. There we go. And if I go to the normalize options, I'm going to just add it to the expected ones that I expected to be created. I actually expect more. I actually expect also one being created here and one being created here. So that the question is, why are they not being created and added? Let's catch that, Mr. Dravis. And I think that's all about what I'm expecting it. So let's rerun the test. Now it should fail, but because of these two lines not being there. And here we are, so I'm missing these two lines. Now I'm going to just go to the transform and the translate. So we have all our, let's just go to the normalize options and check all these. So here we don't have it, here we don't have it, here we have it, and it is working because I think we have added these things here. Here we have it, but it's not working because we forgot to add it here. We did add it here, but we forgot to add it here. Let's fix that. And it's called like this equals true, which is right. Although it should not be equal to true, it should be equal to self dot whatever it is currently set to. And I want to have these self calls everywhere. There we go. Was defined but never used. Ah, doesn't make sense to call it self there. Next up, translate options. Also, we're reading it, but we're not writing it. Exact same issue. And I think I forgot to put that into npm into, and also we can write it differently. So we are doing this backslash thing. We don't need to do that if we're using this way, which I think reads a bit better. So let's also change it like this. So localize paths. Yeah, I'm not going to fix anything here. I want to break. Actually, these don't need it. There's no escaping there. We have one here. This should have the same logic, and now we're going to do the same here as well. Oh, wait a sec, this is just a boolean. And for booleans, this is an array. We have a bool here. No, we don't, but I think for bools, this should be fine. It's just printing as true. And I don't think we need to wrap it into apostrophes here. I think it should work. Okay. Transform options, we have added it now. Translate options, we are adding it. There we go. And we have the same here as well. This escaping. Hello from Farish. Welcome to the stream. How are you doing, Farish? How's your day? How was your week? We're about implementing a new feature to BartyCrouch. That's what we're doing here. Now let's try if the tests now pass. And we have done some test-driven development. So I just added these things here. Did you remember me from last stream? I remember that you joined. I don't remember exactly what we wrote, so I don't remember every viewer. But if you join regularly, I'm sure I will remember you exactly. Was there a specific topic we talked about? I don't remember exactly, but I remembered your name. Okay, so this is now building, and it might actually already work with the new option. And I believe it actually works. We could add the new test now to make sure it works. And I think that is a good idea. So let's have a look at some tests here. See where we can add it. Command line, okay. About SwiftUI, if it's mature in iOS development in general. I see. Yeah, I also remember, I'm always saying the same things, so I'm sure I said the same things also last time. Yeah. So you're using SwiftUI as well, right? Or were you more on the side of, yeah, I'm not sure, not being sure about SwiftUI yet. Okay, so I will actually test this, I think. Manually, or can we quickly do it here? Strings files updater. I think this is the right place. Yeah, we commented out all of this after the big refactoring, and I never had time to enable this again. So I'm just going to test it by hand. Well, let's first have a look at the changes to make sure that nothing breaks here. Yes, SwiftUI from SwiftUI 1. Yeah, I see. We talked a bit about the history of SwiftUI. I listened to the podcast by John Sundell. I always mix up. Sometimes I say Swift Sundell as his name, but it's John Sundell, and he had a podcast recently with Chris Eidhoff, and Chris Eidhoff has a lot of SwiftUI experience. John Sundell has a lot of the SwiftUI experience, and they talked about the history of SwiftUI in their last episode. So that's maybe something you might want to check out. Swift by Sundell podcast. If you're interested in like this. Separate with empty line. Sort by keys. So we have added here. We have made these fixes. Added here, here, here. And made these adjustments. Looking good to me. Here, here, and there. Made these adjustments. Looking good. So all sorts of places we're adding it, but this is the main logic. This is the main change we're making. Everything else is just passing around values. So that's that. It's looking good to me. Removing some unnecessary code. Okay, one last time I want to run all the tests because we have made some more adjustments, I think. But yeah, it's a cool episode, so definitely check it out. And we're going to commit that now. So add new option. Our option is called separate with empty line. To allow removing empty separator. To allow removing new line. And this is specifically solving this, which is 251. So let's mention it here. Fixes 251. And that's the commit. Which program are you working on? This is currently not an app, actually. This is BartyCrouch, is a framework for translating, for developers, is for translating your apps. And I have been, so this is the framework, Flying Dev BartyCrouch on GitHub. And I have new reports of issues and also feature requests. I'm currently basically working on them. That's like, this stream is more like a open source maintenance at first. I will also the last hour focus on open focus timer. So we have about half an hour left to try fixing issues with BartyCrouch here. And this feature is about done. So let me fix this thing here. Function default parameter in violation. Prefer to locate parameters with defaults toward the end of the parameter list. Okay, which file? This is strings files updater 166 and 256. Strings files updater 166. I see they want me to put this at the end. I think that kind of makes sense in this case at least. So I'm just going to do that. And the other one is line 256. Oops. 256. String file updater. I see the override option there. Also makes sense there. So let's fix the build issues. Let's just move this up. And that's it. So now the commit should work. Let's try again. Just reordering things. And Swift format has done some changes also to our code, which all look good to me. Now let's try to commit again. Great repo. Oh, thanks Thank you very much. Definitely something you might want to check out. But I'm also writing an app right now that is going to basically replace BartyCrouch. But I think it's still worth using BartyCrouch even in the meantime until my app is done. So I have just uploaded that branch. I'm now just going to create a pull request. Okay, fixes this here. This is exactly what we need here. Propose changes, adds a new, what do we call it? Separate with empty line. Option to options, adds new options to allow turning off the, allow removing the empty line between strings entries. This is the feature, and I just noticed we forgot to document this also in a changelog, so let's do that quickly. Go to the changelog, and we can copy this. So we have just added a new feature. Let's add it here. Adds new separate with new line option. Allow removing the empty line between strings entries, and let's also copy it from here. Let's typing, and this was requested in 251. And let's replace everything that's Linesoft here. Let's do search and replace, it's faster. Because I have renamed my organization from Linesoft to FlyNdev. So let's find it, case sensitive, and replace. There we go. Okay, 251, and not another one, just one. Other is about right. 2 white spaces at the end are not added. Now they're added. Cool, this documents the change. And I have made some more adjustments. Check if I have made anything wrong here, but it looks all right. Just replacing that, okay. Document changes of, and what's the PR number? 254, I think we need to add that as well. Like this. Try 54. 54. There we go. Document changes of 254. Let's push that as well. And now the CI should be running. If there is a CI setup, I'm not sure about that. Let me check quickly. I think the easiest way is to check through Atom, because I can see all the files there. I'm really thinking of starting streaming on Twitch, but not on iOS, maybe C, C++, old school. Did you recommend any streaming software? Yes, I did. So that's a good question, because you can check out my exactly this article and the next. So there's 2 parts. I will share the link. So this article goes into hardware I'm using, like which camera, the green screen, the microphone, and some other things like lighting and other things. Yeah, let me post that again. So this is the hardware article, and right the next one, which is linked to here in the next part, you can just click that link. This is where I go into the software, and I'm going to both like which software I'm using, including all the settings that I have set up. Basically, you can find it all here. So if you're interested in streaming, this is exactly what I would recommend to check out, because I made this exactly for more people to stream. And also make sure to clap if you like this article, so to give some love there. Okay, but we have just done this, and I want to check out if we have a CI set up, and we do have GitHub Workflow here. And yeah, it should be running. So let's have a look at it. The checks. And there we go. So SwiftUI has passed. Now we're waiting for these to pass. Let's have a look at the current progress. Thank you. You're welcome. And definitely tell me if you're streaming. Write it in the chat and I'll make sure to follow you as well. So I can basically, if needed, like if nobody else is online, I might also be raiding you. So you never know. Okay, I'm not going to wait here actually. I'm going to just continue because I'm confident or positive that this will actually pass because we have run tests locally. And let's go to the next issue that was reported. So this is just that, and this is the next issue. Thank you very much. Translate successful, but no output for storyboard's main strings file. That's interesting. When building script and using translate, I would expect to see some creation translations for the mains.string. I'm not using code and localizable string, but just plain user-facing text in main.string for testing purposes. Also, when running Azure API, all works with global region. Actual behavior, script runs success, but no translate. No idea how to debug it. Success, BartyCrouch successfully translated 0 values and 0 files. Yeah, that's not great. So this is the weather on the map / base, okay, main.storyboard. Okay. And it's like this is the current path, so okay. No localizable strings files found. To fix this, please add localizable strings file to your project and click the localize button for it. Interesting. But this should not be related to their issue. Not parse syntax tree of Swift file. This looks like they have not provided any paths. Let me check that. Steps to reduce your own file. Toml looks pretty basic, but I did play with paths for the translate config. Okay, this definitely has translate in it. This also has all these other things in it, and he stated that they were not using code. So just a comment here, we're not using the code option. You can also just remove this here. It just makes also more performant and you will get less warnings. Like the localizable strings warning, for example. And everything else as well. You can remove everything that you're not using. I'm guessing you'd probably just need these two if you're just using interface builder files. And this one as well, of course, interface builders. This is pretty much the default path. So this, I don't recommend to use the dot path. It's just used because if you use the dot path by default, it will definitely find everything. But I don't recommend this because this might lead to too many paths being checked, and then there can be some weird behavior. I have not really debugged into it too much because I don't have any any project to reproduce it on. Because it sometimes doesn't work, but then it works most of the time. So I definitely recommend specifying only the path or the paths that you really need there. Okay, I'm just going to ignore that because the culprit is translate, and we have weather on the map / supporting files. So this is the strings files should be placed there. And their file here is not placed under supporting files, but their main one, okay, they have two main? Looks like they have two main. Okay, this is kind of irritating, but okay, I get it. There is a supporting files, one here, and base, main interface, and the widget one as well. So there are like 3 main storyboard files, and the one that's not translating is the one inside of supporting files, or the one that they expect to translate. Then it's using macro translator, key from translator, okay, is there something I can configure for only storyboard.strings that I am missing? I couldn't find it in the issues or on the web. So I had already answered. Let's have a look at what else they answered. Well, thank you for reaching out. Here's a slightly different setup and is working with this Hello World project with the custom Toml file. I would say my Spanish localizable strings file did not have all these empty strings, but they were default English. and deleted the translation worked. Please close this issue. Oh, so it's solved. Nevertheless, I was wondering around about all their errors I get when using designables that I would really like to use for all the storyboard elements. How can I skip and improve that? I was wondering about the errors I get when using them. I would really like to use for all the storyboards, and how can I skip and improve that? Bad entry in file. Bad entry in file. Let me have a look if that's being produced by BartyCrouch. Okay, I don't have that string in BartyCrouch anywhere, so I'm guessing that this is not really from BartyCrouch. Translations demo without zip. Let me have a look at that. Let me open the project. Okay, so we have here a localizable string files in Spanish and English. We have a main storyboard. Okay, that's about it. And then let's have a look at the BartyCrouch.toml file. There should be one. I can't see. Ah, there it is. There we go. Translate interfaces code transform. / translation demo. Translation demo. Translation demo. Supporting. And they said that they get in this project a lot of warnings. Let's have a look at that again. So is the build script here? It's BartyCrouch. Okay, let's run this and see all the warnings that we get. What is the advantage of fork over Xcode? You mean this Git tool fork, like Git fork? First of all, when I started using fork, Xcode didn't have Git support or GitHub support. Like there was some things here, but for example, one feature I definitely need is the, if you go here, is the Git Flow Scripts. So if you don't know about Git Flow, you might want to check that out. Git Flow. And I think you can basically look any of these up, but really good one is not that one actually. There's a really nice Git Flow overview, and this is the official. So this is the original Git Flow article. Okay, wait a second. This is the repository itself. This is the post. So this is the original post, and note of reflection added after 10 years. But this is the original post of Git Flow if you want to check that out. It's basically a way to manage your branches, and that's what I'm using. And it works really well for apps, I think. I'm just using different names. So the official or the original one suggested master for like the branch that you're having like only tags. You can see only tags. This is just the releases in your flow. Then they had a develop, and I also don't like that name because it sounds like you're committing, you're developing on this branch, but you're actually not developing on this branch. You're always developing in the feature branches, and these other two branches. These are the branches that you're actually developing on. So you never develop here, which I think is not the good name for this. So I named this the main branch. So this is for me the main branch. This is where everything gets merged into. This is the latest changes are all in this branch, and actively work on feature branches. And I call my feature branches VIP, like WIP, like work in progress, because they're not always features. Sometimes I'm also doing bug fixes here, I'm doing refactorings here. So I feel the name feature doesn't fit, so I just call them work in progress. And this, I think, covers it pretty well, because they are just work in progress. Everything that I do there is work in progress. Once I finished one of these branches, I try to merge them. So as soon as they get merged into my main branch, they are no longer work in progress. I think the release name is pretty good, so I am using that in release as well. The hotfix is also pretty good, so I'm not going to explain how that works, but I think these names make sense. But my master branch, I just call it versions, like the plural of version, because this just holds all the versions of my app. You could also call it something else, but that's how I call it. Versions, main, work in progress, or VIP. But this structure is really great. I can only recommend that. And there is, I think, yeah, I'm not finding it right now. There was one website also, which was really making it really beautiful. Maybe I will find it. Let me have a look. No, not GitHub Flow. Diagram. Okay, I can't find it right now, but I'm sure you'll find it. There's like a website where it's all like graphed out, and it's really a nice website for Git Flow specifically. Yeah, I need to use Google for that. It might find it faster. Yeah, Daniel Kummer, that's Daniel Kummer, maybe. This is basically explaining Git Flow with like a really nice way. So if you want to check it out, also check out this link. Thank you, because I always work solo in my project, so I don't use all of developer stuff like GitHub and testing. I see. I can totally understand that you will need all of these things once you work in a team, or if you're working in open source software. So that might also be a way to learn these things. But the main reason I'm using this is because it's just built for Git, and it has all the Git features you can imagine. Like stashing works better. I can, for example, also rebase here nicely, rebase interactively, things like that. And all of this is not built into Xcode. Xcode just has the basics. It just has the basics. You can't do everything in Xcode. And this is just, in Xcode, is just like one feature of many. So it's not like the core feature, and for the other app, it's the core feature. So it's their selling point. Thus, this feature is much better. And Fork itself is free to, it was free in the past totally. Now it's free to evaluate, so you can basically use it forever for free. But you should buy it if you use it professionally. And that's also what my approach is to that. As soon as I started professionally, I basically think we should buy it. Yesterday I got frustrated with Xcode. I never do this. I just use, if anything, I just use this as an indicator to know, okay, this file was mutated, but that's all. I never use Git things in. I tried the GitHub integration, but when I tested it, it didn't work that way that I wanted. So like doing code pull request reviews inside of Xcode didn't work the way I wanted. So I'm still currently stuck with GitHub, but I may try it out again. Maybe it works better now, or maybe they will need some more improvements for me to switch. But we were about to, we were waiting for these to finish, and they have now finished, it looks like. So everything is green and everything is green. We can merge this, so let's merge it. There we go, one feature is implemented. And we have 12 minutes left for the other one, and I just wanted to have a look at these warnings here. So let's get back to this. And it says BartyCrouch not installed. Oh, that's interesting. I should have it installed. I've just been using the command line lately. Command line is also great for Git. If you can deal with it, I think command line, I mean, that's original Git, and it has all the features you need. I just prefer a UI, and if there was not, if the UI tools were missing important things like interactive rebase or something like that, then I would also use the command line. But the tools are actually pretty good at it, I think. And thus I just use the tools instead of Git in the command line. And I do understand people though who want to stay on the command line. If you're good at using the command line anyways, you might just want to use the command line. But beginners, I wouldn't recommend them to start with the command line, to be honest. Although some people do that, they even recommend beginners to learn through the command line. I personally am not on that side. Anything comparison goes into UI. I see, so you just use the command line for simple things like git add dot and git commit -m and things like that. Okay, so they said they have some issues, but I don't. I think it's because I'm using an M1 machine, and on N1 machines, the path. Let's quickly open Focus Timer because we have it configured there. Vim versus VS Code. I've never used Vim, and also VS Code I just started once, so Also, Vim I have actually started, but I couldn't navigate, so I stuck with Nano when I need it. So I can't do that comparison. I don't have the experience. So somebody else needs to do that. I've been dealing with submodules, and those are easier on the command line. Yeah, more simple things go in the command line for me. I see submodules. I tended to use it a lot until yeah, I had some real issues with submodules. I used it, I think, in one project where I wanted to reuse some portion of the code in another app. But even for that, I started using just like a separate library that I just integrate via, back then it was Carthage, and now it's SwiftPM. For me, I prefer Atom and IntelliJ. I do like IntelliJ stuff. But I mean, the Android Studio is basically IntelliJ IDEA with some additions. And also Atom, I only use Atom because this is an Electron app, because there is no other app that just is native that has all these features. I used to use Sublime, but I don't remember exactly why I switched to Atom, to be honest. I think plugins were not available or something. I don't remember, to be honest, but I switched to Atom, which was slower to start especially, but had all the same features, and it was open source, unlike Sublime. And nowadays I'm hoping for, if you don't know that project yet, oops, I'm hoping for Code Edit. So it's a really great project, and it has already 10K stars, although it doesn't have a release yet. So definitely check that out and look out for that. And it's basically supposed to be, let me show you here, text edit plus Xcode combined into, and then they also combine name, which is like edit at the end, and Xcode, like code at the beginning, Code Edit. And even the logo is kind of a mix. So this is really a mix of these two, and it's like text edit for Xcode. And there is a design, like there's also a whole prototype. You can just read through this and click into this concept, and you find this is a Figma prototype. You can click around and just have a look what this is supposed to look like. And it's already usable, so you can already use it, but it's not finalized yet. So this is like thing, and then you can click around, or you can just say right to see like different screens. And I'm really looking forward to using this instead of Atom. So that's my long-term goal, to switch to Code Edit. Yes, I checked. I also started an app like this with the support of more than 20 languages. If you started an app yourself, I'm sure you're really going to be useful in like helping the community to finalize this. I think it's going to be also easier for you, because you can add the features you wanted in your code editor into this editor, but this is actually a finalized product, and others are helping too. I think that's definitely a great idea to help there. You use Atom for C language, I see. Okay, but we want to see the warnings. So let me add this export. So there's build script here, works for my M1 machine as well. Now when I build, I should get all the errors. There we go, bad entry. Okay, this is being printed by extract log strings. So I'm going to link this section of the video in the GitHub comment. I'm going to answer that, but basically to explain how this happens, or how this all works, is BartyCrouch is using actually a tool that ships with Xcode. And if you want to see that in action, just go to developer, just go to, go to applications, go to Xcode, and just open the package contents, go into contents, and you can find here, I believe it is under other frameworks, plugins, resources, somewhere here. Tools, I think it's here. User bin, there we go. So under developer user bin, you'll find a tool called IB tool. You'll find a tool called extract log strings, which just goes into generating. So this is a tool that ships with Xcode. And this tool is what I'm using inside of BartyCrouch. And this is Apple's official tool that they're using inside of Xcode themselves to basically navigate, to basically deal with interface builder files, with strings files and things like that. So for example, IBtool, they execute IBtool the moment you first localize a storyboard. So if you go into a storyboard here and you first time go into here and say, like, I want to add English, then they're using basically just running IBtool to create the first strings file. And that's exactly what I'm doing inside of BartyCrouch, but they are not doing it incrementally over time. And that's what BartyCrouch adds. So what I'm trying to say is, this is not part of BartyCrouch directly. Instead, this is Apple's official tool. And this official tool is showing this error. So if you want to fix that, probably you need to just make sure that you find out why the official Xcode tool is not working with your file. Let me have a look at this. Bad entry. Argument is not a literal string. I think I already know why this is the case. This is in UI label plus localize. Yeah, this is exactly the problem, is that you're not, so it's already telling you the problem. This is not a literal string. And NS localized string only, or IBtool with NS localized string only works with literal strings. So if you want to fix this, you need to actually provide some value here, like hello world. Instead of, this is like dynamic string. You're providing a variable here, and this will not work. So that's basically the issue, and that's a limitation of the, in this case, it's the extract log strings tool. And neither Apple can fix that, nor I can. Even if I wanted to implement this, it's not possible, because if I have something like this, how would I know what the value is here to extract into a strings file? I don't know. It's dynamic. It could be set into anything, and that's why this doesn't work. If you want to fix this, you just need to exclude, like if you just don't want to see the warning, you just need to exclude this file from BartyCrouch paths. So you could say here, UI label plus localize. Let's go into your settings here. This is your BartyCrouch.com file, and this is translation demo / helpers. So let's just ignore all helpers. You have, this is the, what command is it? This is extracting. This is probably interfaces. And you can say here in subpaths to ignore, just add one more, which is translation demo / helpers. Although wait, this is the path you're using, and inside it, the subpath is named helpers. So let's ignore helpers and let's try rerun this. Okay, this is not working. Let's add it to everywhere, basically. I don't exactly know which one is. There you go. Let's find out which one was the culprit. Looks like it's this one here. Yeah, so the update code, yeah, makes sense because it's searching for strings references in code. Gotta run, have a good day. You too, have a good day. Have a productive day. See you around, Megan. Okay, so we fixed it by just adding this here. So this is the entry that you need to add. Let me make a screenshot of this. Now let's answer. Let's make a yellow. I like this one more. Okay, let's answer that. Faris, you're going to? You're saying bye to Megan. Okay. I just had a look at this during my stream, and and explained in detail why those warnings or errors are being shown. I'll link to the exact time code later. But in short, those errors come from an apple till not from BartyCrouch. And okay, I'll pause this break because I first want to finish this up and then we're going into break. And neither apple nor I can fix it because fix the root cause, but to remove the warnings, the errors, you can simply exclude the subpath helpers from the update.code task. See here. And then let's add the image. Screenshot that we just took. Closing this as you already stated. You could solve it yourself. And I think we have a footer here. There we go. Cool. And let's add a thank you also for that because actually hard because they provided a example project, which is really nice. Really helps figure out things. BartyCrouch will switch and creates empty strings values. This is the next one, but we're going to tackle that, or maybe not. We might actually skip, but I will actually at least read it out so I know what this is about. Maybe we can help quickly, but I also want to get back to the focus timer right after the break. So we're having a quick break now, and I'll be back in a couple of minutes. See ya. Okay, back. A little bit late, but I'm here. And we missed the Pokemon. Bumblebee has escaped. Okay, let's have a look at this quickly. BartyCrouch was watching creates empty strings values. I'm getting empty strings value when combining BartyCrouch and SwiftUI, and shows me this error. I don't find the lang code for lang case English when transforming translation. Portuguese the same. Found translate entry with key type of our email and 0 translations transformed. Translations English, Portuguese. Okay, it looks like the BartyCrouch.swift file is not being found. My strings files are empty like this. Okay. All my configs. So paths is not set, paths is not set, paths is not set. So again, in the README, I am really recommending to set the paths correctly, otherwise it might not work properly as expected. So your problem is the transform and the code paths and the localizable paths. And your type name is this one. Also try to change supported language enum path. Supported language enum path. It's this one here. Set dot right now and try to change to this helper. Okay, this should actually help. But okay, SwiftGen. SwiftGen, the settings don't really matter in this case because basically this step is failing with BartyCrouch. So I don't think it's a SwiftGen problem. You might still have a SwiftGen problem, but what you're telling me here is not the SwiftGen problem. And then you have supported language, English, Portuguese, Spanish. Translate. This is looking all right. Add the strings of Swift for SwiftGen. A little related to this 133. This is pretty much the exact same thing. Commented here too, I'm getting same error, all works, but all the strings are empty after updates to the string file. Still providing dot here. Thank you for being there. I just checked your details and it really looks like exactly the same issue as 133, but let's elaborate together a bit more. From what it looks, all seems correctly figured, although you didn't set any paths, like strongly recommended in the README, the dot path causes problems for some people, but there's no other sensible default I could imagine. Could you please try providing a minimum demo sample that I can investigate? That's else you can also, well, that's probably the easiest way to investigate. Well, with all the more screenshots, it's hard to figure this out. I am actually currently streaming while writing these sentences, and I might just check your project in my next stream, Friday next week at 3 p.m. So feel free to join to provide more details and join me while I'm having a look, so you can learn directly or provide more info, ask questions in chat. I'll add the time code where I look at your here later. At the footer, yeah, that's really, I don't really know what I can say anything else, but you should really set all the paths and remove also all the settings here that you don't use. But otherwise it should work if you set this to the correct path. Maybe you should try setting here the exact path to the exact file, BartyCrouch.swift file. That might help. For some people that helped. Also, remember that this is a relative path from the same directory where you run the BartyCrouch command. Although you could pass a path -p option, I think you should just try to set one path here. And this is the most important setting for the error you're getting, I think. And also to maybe just set these paths to more exact paths and this one. And if that doesn't work, I really have to investigate. I can't really help otherwise. So I need a project that helps me investigate. So let me comment and we'll have a look at this. Maybe next week, maybe some other time, but I have tried to fix that. And this is just another comment here on the same thing. So we have actually added a feature here, and I am going to now release a new version with that feature added. So we have this feature, and maybe we should document it. Yeah, we should document that feature. Forgot to do that. Let me pull the main branch first. Oh wait, we are in the work in progress branch, which we no longer need because it's merged. Let's pull the main. And I'm going to just open it again. And let's have a look at the README. See if we have the new option documented, and we don't. So let's see here, we have options and interfaces. So where did we add that option? We added it to normalize, transform, and translate. To these three: transform, translate, and normalize. Set to false if you don't want to have empty lines between strings entries defaults to true. There you go, we have added that also here. And actually we can start making a release right away. We don't need to commit something new. We just start a new release. This is a new feature, so I'm going to name it for 11.0. Working tree contains, okay, uncommitted changes. Let's readme document new option in readme. Readme is kind of duplicated in this commit message, but I don't really care right now. So let's push that. Let's start a new release now for 11.0. And in that, I just need to make version changes basically and finalize a new changelog section. So where is the project? Let's search for 4.10 something. And this is where I state the version. This is where I state the same. And here too. And lastly, these are the changes. Let's remove the empty sections here. Let's make this for 11.0. Today is 2022/05/27. And let's make all sections empty here. So we have a clean one for a future release. But this is our current release, and this is now the changelog changes, and I think that's already the whole commit here. Bump version num plus finalize new changelog section. There you go, now we can finalize the release. I'm just going to finish. And it's going to merge into main and into versions. Now we can push the two. And versions as well. And the commit that now has the shell hash of this release is this one here. And with that, we can go back and change also this one here, which is our formula. This can only be done once we have the commit SHA of the tag. And now we have it, so this should work now. Update formula to version 4.11.0. Okay, we have more work to do. Let me push that as well. I do want to copy also the changelog. Changelog. This part here to the GitHub release. Oh wait, this is too much. So if we just go to the releases, draft a new release, choose tag for 11.0, copy that text, we can now publish a new release. Before doing that, we need to do some more things. And it's actually documented in this section. So after release checklist, run make portable zip. Let's do that. After that, we will have a portable BartyCrouch.zip file under release. Then we need to create a new changelog section and attach this file as a binary. That's why I didn't complete this yet. I want to attach it here. Let's wait for this to complete. Let's see what Pokemon I caught so far. 22. I have the feeling I'm not catching any Pokemon anymore. Is this a level? Is this how many I caught? No, probably a level. I have a level 1 Mandibuzz. Interesting. I'm not really sure what it's doing right now. It looks like it's not doing anything, but I think it's because it's refreshing basically and printing out always. So we have compile 11 source files. This is the next output. This is the next output that came from 87 with 11, 84 with 22, 88 with 22. Just gonna wait a bit. Might figure it out over time. But we won't have much time to work on Open Focus Timer, so let's see what we're going to be able to do there. Maybe we should already have a look at this. So next steps, continue here, adding a confirmation dialog plus delete dismiss view logic for when delete is confirmed. There's no screenshot added. We also had replace create new category button with a plus icon at the top bar. Oh, okay, we have this create new category button here at the bottom. And the idea was to replace it with a plus icon at the top. I actually liked this, not in this screenshot, but in the new design that we had implemented last time. I like the placement of this because you don't have to reach very far to the top with your finger. It's relatively reachable. So maybe we want to add one at the top to have a plus, but also keep that one. Adding a confirmation and delete dismiss view light. Okay, we need to work on this. But this is taking very long. I'm going to restart this. I don't know what's happening. Just going to restart and retry. This should be much faster. Okay, this is taking a while, but this is only for CocoaPods release, so we can complete the release for everywhere else. I'm just going to publish this, and I'm going to add the binary later. I should still be able to edit and add it here. So what's the next step? What else do we need to do? Or do we have it open? Yes. Pod trunk push, okay, that we can only do after adding the binary. Then tag revision formula and commit and push the change, that's already done. And then run brew. Okay, we need to run this next. Let's run that in parallel. And we did push, yes, we did push that. So let me run that, and our tag is 4110. And just to be sure we have the right one here, let me just copy that again. And replace the revision with that revision. Let's run enter. This should now create a pull request on Homebrew core to make sure that you can just say brew upgrade BartyCrouch to get it, because that's managed in Homebrew core and not by me. There you go, the pull request is created, and now we just have to hope that all checks are going to pass. But that's the Homebrew release for BartyCrouch there. This one is going to take a while, looks like. I might actually have to update CocoaPods, but maybe not. It is making progress. It's making slow progress, but it's making progress. So I'll just let it run in the background. Let's get actually to this, and I'm going to write down what we did today. So far, we implemented basically this feature that we just closed. Output for add new line entry. There we go. Implement a new option in BartyCrouch to fix the issue. Oh, this is a nice preview. That's great. It's actually looking better than I remember. The new option is called separate with empty line. Then we answered I think we can go here. This is the one we just closed. And this is the other one we just answered. They just do, okay. Translates close all. This is the one. That's the one we actually recursive switching creates empty strings values. No, that's the other one we just answered. Okay. Answered and closed. And answered. This is our to-dos plus released version for 11 BartyCrouch. Okay, let's have a look at the Open Focus Timer, unless this is finished now. Oh, this is finished now. Nice. So this is the product's release. And the kind should be a zip file. There we go. This is the file. And we want to put it here. I was at the right place. Just need to edit. And move that to the binaries. Now with that out of the way, we can actually run podtrunk at podtrunk push, which is going to push the latest version to CocoaPods. Now the release should be complete. Nice. Let's actually answer this in the issue. Thank you for the suggestion again. Or did we already comment? No. I just implemented this during my live stream and published a new version where you should find the new option. Let's also add the name. For various options, see README. Which you can set all to false to get rid of the empty line. I hope this is what you are looking for. It works. Test it. Actually, but should work. Or did we test it? No, we did not test, so footer. There we go. This is done, and it's also published on CocoaPods, so that's the BartyCrouch release. Yay! Let's close off with BartyCrouch and let's get to Open Focus Timer. I already saw that we had some changes here. So what are these about? Let's learn. And these are definitely duplicated, so I will already discard them. But we have something done here, and it says continue here by adding confirmation dialog. All right, let's open this project first. This is our app, and let's navigate to that place. So we were about to add a delete button. Case label and switch must have at least one. Yeah, let's just say break for now. So this builds. Does it build? Not yet. Oh, I have to return none instead. Now it's building. Let's run the app. Let's see what the app looks like, and then I will also remember what this delete button press is about. Let's make this full screen so we can put it on side of Xcode. So we can work on it and see the results here on the right away. Okay, so this is in settings, edit category reducer. So let's go to settings. Let's click edit a category. And here we have a delete. Okay, that's what we were trying to do, because we do have swipe to delete now. Well, let's cancel that. Let's do swipe delete now for this. And we also have a crash there. So this is also something that we need to fix. And I believe we have documented that as well. Fix issue with deleting category crashing app, exactly. So that's the next thing we need to fix. But let's first get the delete button working in the detail, because the problem with this thing is this is not discoverable. So users might not know that you can swipe this, and that's why I'm adding an additional way to delete it, and that's here. So it's obvious to everybody how to delete. And we already have some logic in this screen to handle the delete action. Oops, I mean here. And you can just press here, and then you see like we are asking for confirmation. The question is, should we copy that or should we reuse that? And I'd like to reuse it if possible. And the way we handle it here, this is a different place. This is the edit category reducer, and I believe this is the settings categories. I believe it should be here. Action save, action cancel. We could actually try to handle it here. I'm just not sure if that would show up. But actually it should show up. I think this should work. So instead of catching it in the reducer here, I will just say here, handled by parent reducer. And this is the same as here with the delete button. And with the cancel button, so I can just copy that over. And instead of catching it in this reducer, I'm just going to catch it here, like the cancel button, edit category, delete button press, and we even get the category provided for that, which makes sense, so we'll probably need that. And then we return, and then we go into the action handler. Or let me first check if we have delete category button pressed, category, and then we just do this. Let's see if that works. I'm just going to do the exact same thing like when the swipe action is done. I believe it's not going to work because we have a modal showing, but let's first see what this will work like, or what this will behave like. So let's go here, let's go into edit. Oh, I don't want to edit this one. Let's edit that one. I'm going to press delete and nothing happens. So this didn't work because we are in a different place, and navigation, I'm guessing, only works from here. Okay, so that failed. What we could do is, when we click delete, I could first dismiss this and then cause that. Maybe that's another way to do it. But that's not a great user experience, right? You're clicking delete in that screen and you're leaving that screen. So that's also not a great idea. So instead of doing it that way, I need to handle it differently. And let's have a look at how much code this is. This is actually manageable. It's just a few lines of code. So I will actually re-implement the same logic in the other screen as well. Oh, Farash, welcome back. How are you doing? So we have completed the do you have a problem? Yeah, I try to currently, we have multiple problems, but I'm trying to implement this delete button. It currently doesn't work. And we already have the same logic here. If I click delete here, oh, I just see that this doesn't work either. Oh, something going wrong here. Okay, now this doesn't work as expected. Let me restart the app. I think that's a caching issue or something like that, because it did work before. So now if we did this and click here, as you can see, we already have this implemented. And this also works if I delete now, this disappears. And then we have a crash, that's a separate issue. I'm going to fix that as well. But first, I want to add a second way to delete, and that's in here. And this is not implemented yet. I want to reuse the implementation from here, and that's what we're talking about. We have, by the way, finalized the BartyCrouch release, so I have released a new version of BartyCrouch with a new feature in it. Okay, so we have this delete button press with the category. We also have delete category button pressed in here. And in the action handler, we actually have this button logic. So let me actually just copy and paste. I think it's not that big of a deal if we have this in two places and it's just a few lines. So we need to show delete confirm dialog like here in the state. Something like this. And category awaiting delete confirmation we'll probably need as well. Although we might not need that, we're in the detail category anyways. But let's add show delete confirm dialog, set it to false first, and then in the action handler we're setting it to true. And then category awaiting, that is not needed actually, so we might actually not need this category. Let's change it everywhere. Let's also implement this with logic. So case delete button press, no category needed. Return action handler dot delete category button pressed. And let's rename that as well. Delete button pressed. Now we're passing the state in. Then let's go to the actions and remove that category here from the actions. This should also make the view simpler because we can just say delete press. I mean, the state should know the category, right? Yeah, if there is an existing category, it will know it. But if there isn't, then it won't. So maybe we should keep, okay, I will keep it because then we don't have to force unwrap. That's why we added it. I remember it now. Then we will need it here. Let category. Pass it here. And let's revert the code here as well. There we go. Show delete confirm dialog, category. Okay, we might actually want to use this, but this is also an optional. Okay, we don't need it. Jumping around between implementations, but that's how it is sometimes. We don't really need it. Let's remove that again. That's fine. And here we can remove it as well. Okay. So now let's implement the confirm dialog. Should have some confirmation dialog here. There we go. It's only showing on macOS though. That's interesting. Why? We're on iOS here and it's working too. Wait a second, confirm action, show delete confirm dialog. Am I doing it differently on iOS? This is here. Okay. Instead, on iOS, I am doing it elsewhere. Here we go. Yes, on iOS I'm adding it here. So this is the logic for iOS. List row separated hidden is not part of the confirmation dialog. And now we should be able to add the same here. Let's go into the detail screen. So on the delete button, let's add it directly on the delete button. Save, cancel, cancel, save. And if we're on iOS, if there's an existing category, we're showing this section and we are having this button, and I'm adding confirmation dialog here. Global label confirm action tile should be fine. Presented, this should be fine. Button destructive is right. Delete category confirmed. This is a new action we need. This should work now. The text is a global text. This is actually delete confirm now. This should be reusable, so I'm going to reuse that text as well. So this should be fine. We're not using the category. Delete category confirmed. That might be the place we want to add the category. That kind of makes sense. Delete confirmed. I'm just going to call delete confirmed category. Let's just be sure that it's a model category. Now I can pass the category. Now we need to handle that case here. Delete confirm category. Return. Let's look it up here. Any category, delete category confirmed. Here we go. Just passing to the action handler, and this has this logic in it. Delete confirmed, state, and this time we have a category. Category to delete is category awaiting. We don't need that because we have a strict category here being passed. Managed object context delete, category to delete. Save, reload data, self.reload data. That's what we're doing on the other screen. But we need a different logic for that. So this one, make sure to reload and parent reducer on delete confirmed. We're going to handle that in a sec. Let me first check if it's building. Nope. We'll have some work to do. Oh yeah, of course. We need to call that now. Delete confirmed, state, and category. More. It's in the view. We need to, yeah, this has a label. Looks like it's building now. Lastly, let me also make sure to call into reload data in the parent view when delete confirmed is executed. So let me just go to the reducer and say here, okay, let me first check where we have already reload. It's internal. Okay, I'm just going to catch that here as well. So let's say edit category action delete confirmed with a category. We don't really need a category. Just going to run into action handler. I'm just going to make that thing public or internal so we can reuse it. Reload data. Let's just call into reload data. That's it. Oh yeah, it's not returning a next in that case. Okay, I will create an extra function for that. Although if it's confirmed, we might actually just call into this. You can see, but we don't have a category here. But we could just set this and then call, yeah, we can make it much simpler. So I'm keeping this private. And we are handling that action here actually with action handler delete category confirmed. I'm in the state here, and before that I'm setting the state to awaiting the confirmation, and then category, setting the category here, and now we can reuse at least the save logic. Nice, that means I can now remove the delete confirmed action here, and also here just say none, handled by parent producer, which we already have here. So let me just add it. Delete button, delete confirmed. You can ignore the category. There we go. This should now work. Let's run this in the simulator. Let's test. Okay, I will delete I. We do get this. Clicking delete does actually, I think, cause a deletion, because when we rerun, the I is no longer there. So this did work, but one issue we still have is that we are not dismissing this. We should dismiss this as soon as we delete, because there's nothing to cancel or save anymore. So let's implement that as well. So we have that logic. So whenever the action handler runs delete category confirmed, reload data, it should actually check if state dot edit category state, which is an optional, if that is actually not an optional, it should return set edit category presented to false. And only in the else case should work like this. This should work now. This should dismiss it. So when the edit category state is currently being shown, but the category was deleted, we're going to dismiss it, and we can actually just say unequal to nil. So it's not nil. We are making it disappear. Otherwise, we're doing nothing. And that should fix the implementation of the delete button. Now let's get on to with the crash. Let me first commit this though. So let's check the changes. It's looking good. This is all right. This makes sense. This too. This is fine. This is fine. I think we implemented this last time. Yeah, makes sense. Okay. Add delete button to edit category view and get it working. So that's that, and we have now implemented that. Let's move it up here. And this is now implemented, and I see our time is about to be over, so let me actually pause this. So let's have a look at what we've done today. So in today's stream, we worked on this new feature from BartyCrouch. We basically worked on 3 issues. Two of them, one of them we could close with the comments. One of them we asked for more information because we couldn't reproduce to fix it. And one is a new feature that was requested, which I implemented and released in version 4.11.0. So that is out. and adding a confirmation dialog. So we basically made a small step forward in the iOS migration of the open focus timer. Next time we're going to continue by replacing the create new category button with a plus sign. That's something I'm not really sure about, so let me put this down actually. We're going to start with fixing the delete category crashing app issue and add feature to edit category buttons. That's like the next thing, and this should be done on iOS and macOS together. So from now on, we basically focus on both iOS and macOS after the bigger migration, which is, I think, going to complete with if we also consider this thing here. And then we have some more things that we want to work on. And of course, we have also a lot of warnings in the project itself that help us to remember what we need to do before for completion before we can actually release the first version of the app. So that's it for today's stream. I'd like to remind everybody of my Medium, where I wrote about several things. So my last article is a new issue for the Swift Evolution Monthly, where I present the latest features in Swift, or the newest future features in Swift that are currently being developed. And the focus this time was still about regexes, which are getting a big overhaul in Swift 5.7, and Swift snippets as well, and some work group announcements as well. So definitely check out that if you're interested in that. You can also subscribe to SA Monthly, which is basically the same thing but as a newsletter email. Then make sure to also follow me on Twitter. I'm always writing about things I'm learning that I find interesting. For example, I rediscovered this SwiftUI navigation library from Point Free, which is really amazing. So definitely have a look at this if you don't know about it, and if you're struggling with SwiftUI navigation, this is something that might actually help you. But this is already expecting you to already understand SwiftUI navigation, so this is more useful if you're already experiencing this. And it basically cleans up a lot of issues with, for example, you might have free sheets, and I do have this situation in the open focus timer, so we might actually migrate over to this library. You have like state that look like this, which are optional, and then for each of them you show like a sheet. And they fix this by just providing one route, which is an enum, and then instead of writing 3 of those, I believe you can also just write 1 of those, although I see they are currently still stuck with 3 of those. But still, this is just 1 already, and this is already cleaner and safer. And they also have all sorts of helpers like alert, confirmation dialog that make this even easier. And you can see, there you go. So this is how easy it is by just using this unwrapping thing. Okay, they're using it here too. But this is definitely something you want to check out if you're interested in SwiftUI navigation. And of course, they combine with the composable architecture also from Point Free. This is really strong. And don't forget to follow me on FlyingDev if you don't do that yet. And if you're watching this video on YouTube, thank you for watching it here. Don't forget to like it. And everybody else, I wish you a nice evening. I'll be checking if there's somebody we can raid on Twitch. Otherwise, see you next week. I'll be back next week on Friday at 3 p.m. See you around. Have a nice day. Have a nice weekend. Bye.